Journey to the West in Vernacular Chapter 24, Sweeping the Pagoda in Jingguang Temple and Chasing the Buddha Treasure. The four masters and apprentices got up early and went to bed late and walked for more than 800 miles. When they arrived at Jisai country, they saw people and cars passing by in the city, and it was a bustling scene. As I was walking, I suddenly saw a dozen monks wearing shackles and begging from door to door. Tang Seng couldn't help but feel compassionate and asked Wukong to go forward and ask for clarification. The monk did not dare to tell the truth on the street, so he took Tang Monk and his disciples to the Jingguang temple built by them to protect the country. It turns out that there was once a Buddhist relic placed on the pagoda of Jingguang temple. It was surrounded by colorful clouds during the day and shone brightly at night. It could be seen by all the surrounding countries, so it was regarded as the sacred palace of Tianfu, paying tribute every year and coming to court every year. Unexpectedly, one night 3 years ago, there suddenly rained blood, polluting the pagoda, and it has been dark ever since. Foreign countries stopped paying tribute because they couldn't see the strange lights on the tower. The king listened to Greedy's words and said that all this was caused by the monks in the temple stealing the treasure, so he arrested all the monks in the temple for questioning, and 2 monks were beaten to death. Tang Monk decided to go to the pagoda in person at night to pray for Buddha, find out the cause, and rescue the monk. After dinner, Tang, Monk, and Wukong each took a newly purchased broom. They first went to the main hall to burn incense and worship Buddha. Then they opened the pagoda door and swept layer by layer from bottom to top. They did not reach the 10th floor until midnight. Tang Seng felt tired and had back pain, so he asked Wukong to sweep the top 3 floors for him. When Wukong swept to the 12th floor, he heard someone talking at the top of the tower, so he got out of the tower door and walked on the clouds to check. He saw 2 goblins playing, guessing and drinking in the 13th floor tower, so he stopped the tower door and shouted, "It turns out you stole the treasure." Wukong captured the 2 little goblins and brought them to see Tang Monk. The 2 little goblins revealed their true love. In the blue pond of Rock Mountain, not far from the capital, lived the Wansheng Dragon King, his daughter Wansheng Princess, and their son-in-law, the 9-headed Prince Consort. The year before last, the Prince Consort and the Dragon King came to the city, unleashed a bloody storm, and stole the Buddha's treasure. Princess Wansheng also stole the 9-leaf Ganoderma lucidum from the Queen Mother and placed the Buddha in an altar to warm it up so that it could shine day and night. Recently, the 10,000 Saint Dragon King heard that Sun Wukong was passing by, so he sent the Catfish Spirit and the Blackfish Spirit to patrol here to find out the truth about Tang Monk and his disciples so that he could deal with them. In order to prove the innocence of the monks in the temple, Wukong put the 2 little goblins through Peepa bones and locked them up, preparing to take them to the king the next day. The next day, Tang Monk and his disciples paid a visit to the king of Sasai Kingdom, changed the customs, and took the opportunity to defend the monks in the temple, saying that there were little goblins who could prove it. After hearing this, the king ordered the Jinyi guards to accompany Wukong to Jingguang temple to catch monsters. The 2 little monsters truthfully recruited the old Dragon King and the 9-headed Prince Consort to steal the Buddha's treasure. The king ordered the 2 monsters to be imprisoned, issued a decree to release the monks of Jingguang temple, and held a banquet at Guanglu temple to cleanse the Tang monks and their disciples. During the banquet, the king asked Tang Seng and his apprentices to eliminate demons and seize treasures. Tang Seng agreed and immediately asked Wukong and Baji to go. Wukong and Baji each held a little goblin as eyeliner, rode the clouds to the blue wave pond of Rock Mountain, cut off the ears of the Blackfish Spirit and the lower lip of the Catfish Spirit, and said, "Go tell your king and ask him to return the golden light. If there is even half a word on the treasure on the temple tower, the whole family will not survive." The 2 little goblins were thrown into the pool and hurriedly ran into the palace to report to the old Dragon King and the 9-headed Prince Consort. The 9-headed prince-in-law was neatly dressed, holding a crescent shovel in his hand, parted the water channel, jumped out, and shouted, "Son Wukong, come and die." When Wukong heard this, he was furious and beat him with a stick. The 2 went back and forth and were inseparable. Baji quietly ran up behind the 9-headed prince-in-law, raised a rake and struck him. The goblin had 9 heads and 18 legs, and eyes on both sides of its back. It could see clearly. It rolled on the spot and revealed its original shape. It turned out to be a 9-headed insect that was more than 1 foot long. It spread its wings and flew into the air, trying to escape back to the Dragon Palace. When Wukong saw it, he jumped into the air and struck his head with a blow. The strange insect flew sideways and bit Baji's neck. Baji was brought back to the dragon palace by the 9-headed insect and hung on a pillar in the west corridor. In order to save Baji, Wukong turned into a crab and dived into the water. He had been here last time when he stole the waterproof golden-eyed beast from the Bull Demon King. He swam to the archway along the same path and saw the Dragon King and his family celebrating the 9-headed worm. Baji's 9-toothed nail was leaning against the pillar outside the palace. Wukong crawled to the west corridor and saw Baji hanging there, unable to move at all. He screamed in pain, so he climbed over and cut off the rope and whispered to Baji to wait under the archway. "Go into the palace and get the rake yourself." Baji recognized Wukong's voice, broke free from the rope, and slipped out quietly, according to Wukong's instructions. After Wukong got the rake, he changed back to his original appearance and came to the archway. Baji took the rake and asked Wukong to go ashore to help him. He held the rake and drove in. In an instant, the doors, windows, tables, chairs, and precious utensils in the palace were all smashed to pieces. The Dragon King, Dragon Mother, Dragon Son, and Grandson were so frightened that they hid in all directions. After hiding the princess, the 9-headed insect rushed to the front palace and picked up a shovel to block Baji. After the old Dragon King calmed down, he led his dragon sons and grandsons to attack with swords and guns. Baji was outnumbered, so he waved his rake out of the water. The Dragon King refused to give up and led his dragon sons and grandsons to chase him out. At this time, Wukong saw clearly in the air and took the opportunity to smash the old Dragon King's head with a stick. When the dragon son and grandson saw this, they were frightened and ran away in panic. The 9-headed insect took the dragon corpse and returned to the water. Wukong and Baji jumped to the shore and were discussing countermeasures. Suddenly, from a distance, they saw Erlang Shen leading the 6 brothers of Maishan, leading the Sky Eagle and Sky Dog, carrying prey, and riding clouds towards this side. Wukong wanted to ask Erlang Shen to help him catch the demon, but he surrendered because he caused a big commotion in the Heavenly Palace. He was embarrassed and asked Baji to go and see him. Baji hurriedly jumped on the cloud head, stopped them, and shouted, "The great sage Kishan asks to see you." When Erlang Shen heard this, he stopped his carriage and quickly asked the 6 Maishan brothers to invite Wukong. Erlang Shen held a banquet on the top of the mountain to entertain Wukong and Baji. They ate until Dongfang turned white. Baji took advantage of the drunkenness and jumped into the Bibo pool to challenge. When he came to the archway, he saw that the Dragon Son and the Dragon Grandson were conducting funerals for the old Dragon King. He roared, rushed into the palace, and punched 9 holes in the Dragon Son's head. When the 9-headed insect heard the report, he hurriedly led Long Sun to chase him out. Baji fought and retreated, luring the monsters to chase him out of the water. On the shore, Wukong and Erlang Shen and others swarmed up and chopped Long Sun into several pieces. Seeing that the situation was not good, the 9-headed insect rolled in front of the mountain and revealed its original shape. Erlang Shen took out his slingshot and shot upward. When the 9-headed insect circled and flew past Erlang Shen, a head stuck out from its waist and was about to bite, when the roaring Sky Dog rushed up and bit the head off in one bite. The monster no longer dared to fight and flew north. Wukong immediately turned into a 9-headed insect, and asked Baji to chase him, and went into the water to find the princess to trick the treasure back. Wukong and the two entered the Dragon Palace. As soon as Wukong saw Princess Wansheng, he said, "Ju Baji is chasing me. Hide the treasure quickly." The princess hurriedly took the gold box containing the Buddha treasure and the 9 leaves. The jade box of Ganoderma lucidum was given to Sun Wukong. As soon as the baby got it, Wukong changed back to his original state. Seeing this, the princess quickly went to grab it. Baji caught up with him and knocked the princess down with a rake. The remaining dragon, Po, was also caught by Baji. When Wukong saw Baji raising his rake and wanted to hit him, he quickly stopped him and said, "Goodbye, leave her to see the king." So the two separated from the waterway and returned to the shore. Erlang Shen and the 6 Maishan brothers saw that Wukong was done. Then he said goodbye and returned to Guanjianku. Wukong and Baji held the treasure box and Long Po and rode the clouds back to the kingdom of Jisai. The king and Tang monk came to the Jingguang temple pagoda and saw Wukong placing the relics in the vase on the top of the tower. They also asked Long Po to appear with a dragon body coiled on a pillar to guard the tower. Wukong swept the 13-story pagoda again with the 9-leaf Ganoderma lucidum grass, and then put the 9-leaf Ganoderma lucidum grass into the vase on the top of the tower to warm it up. In an instant, the top of the tower was filled with rays of light and aura of auspiciousness. It was still visible to all directions, and the 4 countries looked at it together. According to Wukong's wishes, the king changed the Jingguang Temple to Fulong Temple to be built to protect the country and wrote a new plaque on it. On the day when Tang Monk and his disciples left Jisai Kingdom, the king led the civil and military officials, the people in the city, and the monks of Fulong Temple sent Tang Monk and his disciples to the outside of the city. In particular, the monk of Fulong Temple did not want to go back after being sent for more than 60 miles. Wukong had no choice but to pluck out his hair, turn into a tiger, and block the way. The monk was afraid and had to go back. Alright, this part of the story ends here.
Want to know what happened next? Let's listen to the breakdown next time.